Yo, what is
I'm
going
sorry, Adam. We are
on?
sorry, brother.
We're live. Finally, we had to wait for King. The prima donna he is. He's got a.
I got the Aaron Rodgers man bun right now.
Yeah, he's got that Aaron Rodgers haircut right now. No, but in all seriousness, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Woodard Pistons Table Talk. We got the Oreo look today, but I'm your host, Sean Murphy. Alongside, first of all, to my left, we got my guy, my boy, Kool-Aid, the godfather of Pistons, of the Woodward Pistons channel.
Dope shirt.
A man of the people, voted recently as one of the members of Pistons Twitter of the Year, which was pretty cool. That was pretty crazy to see. But Kool-Aid, it's good to see you as always, my guy.
Hey, brother, thank you, sir. Thank you. Hey, the shirt, courtesy of Woodward Sports. I love this company. Absolutely do.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let's do it.
MK says immediately puts blame on King. I'm like, you already know. I'm like, you already when in doubt. But also, it is in all seriousness. My guy to my right, my boy, Everything King, which I was saying to him before the air, and I will repeat here. I did not find you in episode 1 of Hard Knocks, so I am expecting that you will be in episode 2 because you're pretty much down Allen Park like every day.
Every day, yeah, much as I can, man. Much as I can. Hopefully I can get in those cameras somewhere in the show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Adam,
look,
I'm
we
sorry.
We had you on the cameras on Woodward Pistons, man. We found a way to sneak you in there, dog.
Yeah.
It was definitely appreciated. Jeff and I, we were sitting here like, yo, this is gonna be pretty cool. Like, we didn't know how the noise was gonna be, and we'll definitely get into that more about that experience. But Sean, do you want to break down the NBA's news of the day before we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. So the per Shams first report was revealed to the NBA world that the NBA will be retiring the number 6 going forward. So not just by the Boston Celtics will the late Bill Russell's number be retired, but in addition, Bill Russell's number will never be worn again in the NBA world. Now, there is a caveat. So for current players that currently have the number 6, they can still wear the number 6, but going forward, no one will ever be issued the number 6 again. So currently on the Detroit Pistons, Hamidou Diallo wears that number. Obviously, LeBron James currently wears that number. So anyone that currently wears it can still wear it if they choose to. However, going forward, no one will be able to choose the number 6 in the NBA. And if there's anybody in the NBA world to retire their number throughout the entire league, it's Bill Russell. I mean, guys, when we talk about, and we talked about it a little bit on From Half Court, and I know, and I think we might have touched on this a little bit on here too, but I mean, just truly, Bill Russell is the definition of what it means to be a winner, and defined what greatness in team sports looks like, and paved the way for a lot of people. And so, yeah, man, absolutely deserving.
Yeah. So I definitely, man, just wanted to make sure we started things off with honoring a legend, man. Make sure we also pay homage to or recognize the NBA for doing the right thing here. These sports leagues, sometimes they can do the wrong thing. We get on their cases when they do the right thing. Let's definitely tip the cap. I definitely want to do that. And something else that deserves a little bit of attention before we get going. You might notice some people are missing tonight. GoBlueLexi is recording her 3rd episode tonight. We're definitely all proud of her. Go support her as well. Blue 90. What's her pod? The name of the pod. Let me pull that up real quick. It's presented by Blue 90. I've been like under the weather this week, y'all. So give me a.
Yep, on Stadium Boulevard with Lexi. Yep. So shout out to Lexi and everything that she's doing. Go check out her pod and everything that she has going on. But also, as you were alluding to, some other exciting things going on as well.
Yes, man. Look, the homie, the Brody, downtown Deuce, our maestro of the group here. He and his girl just had a baby, man. So I'm proud of them, happy for them. definitely tip the cap. He said he'll show up at some point in time in these comment sections. But
let's go!
let's
Congratulations,
go.
my guy.
Congratulations.
We got
Deuce,
another
man.
member of the table talk, young Deuce, somewhere. But hey, I don't know, man. I'm happy for everybody. Like a lot of success going on. A lot of people are striving, grinding, doing their thing. I saw King down at training camp this week. We got him on the Woodard Pistons podcast with Jeff. Rod is still out on vacation, but we're gonna make him work double time, overtime next week. But we got into some interesting conversation, man, about the similarities between the Lions rebuilds and the Pistons rebuilds. And Sean, did you guys talk about that at all? On from half court?
We have not talked about it on From Half Court, but I mean, we talked about it a lot before, where I felt like, one thing that was immediately noticeable to me about the Pistons draft right after it happened was how remarkably similar it was to the Lions draft just a couple months before, in the sense that you're able to go, and with, your first pick, go get that surefire thing, that consensus top, like one of those top talents of the draft. There's our guy Deuce, by the way. Deuce, we're all super happy for you. We're all pumped for you. We love you, man. So happy, healthy family there. Just praying that's continued the case. But anyway, but with how similar that draft was, in the sense that, like I said, you go get that surefire, one of the top talents, but then in addition to be able to go get a guy that could potentially, be an explosive, dynamic piece, later in the middle of the first round, and to in all things considered, not have to give up much to do it. And also just how cerebral both Brad Holmes and Troy Weaver are. I think there's more of a confidence thing with me with Troy Weaver, just because he has that track record with the Thunder. He has that track, like he has such a deep history in scouting that, like, I've seen him firsthand get the job done before. Whereas with Brad Holmes, like, I didn't know much other than the organization he came from, but man, just the way they both attack the job, as far as as taking the long view, having a vision, building towards something, and trusting the people that they have to do it, and the way they do it, it's very similar. So
it is. And I know King was the one that actually brought up a lot of good points. And I also before I go to King, I want to mention something that Jeff talked about as well. When's the last time we had the Lions and the Pistons win the draft?
Yeah,
think about that, man. That's it's like, I think that they both won the draft. Obviously, Orlando got the number one player, but the Pistons got the best value. They got the best 1-2 punch. Aiden Hutchinson, man, everything we're seeing from him, everything I know, bro, you got me excited, King. That report you were talking about with him. And when's the last time, man? This is a special time with the Lions and the Pistons. For Lions in particular, I think it's even more special because it could really be the start of something that we've never seen before here in Detroit. With the Pistons, we're talking about restoration, but for the Lions, we don't want to see a restoration, because that just means what? First round playoff exits at best? No, we're trying to see something a little bit more, and I think that's what's really getting people pumped up about the Lions.
Yeah, I didn't get to hear King's report yet on Aiden Hutchinson. So obviously for those, I'm going to go listen to the Woodard Pistons podcast later to get the full scoop. But King, I'd love to hear your synopsis on that. I know one thing that stuck out to me, even watching Hard Knocks episode 1, like this first week, I remember one scene when they're starting to talk about Aiden Hutchinson's play on the field, and they cut to all the defensive coaches, and they were like, is Aiden Hutchinson, like, is he just like a surefire thing? And they literally didn't pause. They're like, yep, he is. Yeah, he's just really good. Yeah. And just from everything I can tell, the guy's going to be special.
I can totally agree with him. From what I've seen, just the battles with the offensive line in general. I'm not even just going to say Panay Sewell, because he's went up against multiple guys on that offensive line, including Jonah Jackson. So, these are vets, and we have our stud Panay Sewell, and I've seen him push Panay Sewell back 5 yards. You know what I'm saying? As a rookie, that's not easy to do. Panay Sewell is very strong. We talking about a guy that Aaron Donald tried to fight on the field, because he was frustrated. So it's like I said, to see Aiden Hutchinson go out there and be successful in camp so far, I can't. It makes me even more excited to get down there tomorrow night to the first preseason game and see him in action. But yeah, I totally back
Say
that
that
up.
again.
Yeah, I'll be going down there tomorrow to the first preseason game. Football
is
back.
back.
Football is back. And I'm
Let's go.
Here we go. Boy,
Man, it just feels so
Sports.
good. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, when it's to the point where like I'm rewatching summer league games because like that's how excited I am. Like that's how much I need sports, dude. Yeah, thank God.
Yep.
Football's back.
Yep. And you know what? Something else with those rebuilds, something else that King brought up as well on the Woodard Pistons podcast. If you guys haven't, go back, look at the From Half Court, check out Everything King, check out Woodard Pistons. But this is something that you talked about as well, the similarities between the two rebuilds. I know Jeff talked about them doing really, really well in the draft. King brought up the fact that they both squads are stacking their assistant coaches and some of their scouting and development team with former players, former players that are scrappy, former players that are known as hard workers, and I think that that's the way to go in this era of sports. Guys who they show a proficiency with how to do things right on the field, but that they can get a little bit more respect. They can command a little bit more respect. I know Jeff was talking about, hey, he loves Coach Beeline. But there's got to be something a little bit more that Rasheed Wallace might command than Coach Beeline in just certain regards. So I don't know. I love those two things: the draft, how well they're doing, and the what they're doing with stacking these squads with competent ex-players.
Yeah,
it's a whole different thing, man. You got to think about it. I have no knock against any type of assistant on the team that may have not played. At the professional level. But when you have professionals that's been out there and done it, they know the communication out there. They know what to expect. They know what the speed is like. They know where to point you and what direction to put you so you can, be successful. And that's just with the NFL and the NBA. Like I said, this guy has done it already. He's hung his boots up, and now he's trying to give it to me and say, hey, listen, this is what's going to happen out here. This is what you should look for. This is what's going to make you the most successful out there. So with the Pistons started to add more and more of those veterans, I hope they add Rasheed Wallace. It's going to help these young guys out a lot, man, a ton, because they've been there.
And they're both, kind of taking that approach of adding more of those former players to the coaching staff. And especially on the NFL side of things is really something we haven't seen been done a lot. So especially not to this scale. I mean, they said during the Hard Knocks episode, like they have this team is what, like just from the coaching staff alone, just over 80 plus years of playing experience. And so just the way that, and especially like the guys that they are, it's like with Deuce Staley, with Aaron Glenn, and just seeing, just the type of passion and drive that they have, but they're also, and I think to me, it's really important that for the first time in a long time, both of these franchises are being built on what it means to be from Detroit, like what it means to be great in Detroit. Because if you try to do something any other way than the Detroit way in Michigan, it's just not going to work. So implementing the city and what it's about, it's just huge.
Yeah, it starts with being authentic. And I think that's the number one chord that we can find through the fabric of their draft picks, the coaches, how they're building this team. These are authentic people. Is anybody questioning Keith Bogans or Rashard Lewis? No, if you saw them play, if you know the era they came from, if you've seen any of their highlights, you're not questioning those guys. People don't even question them. Like we were talking about it, man. Keith Bogans would foul people hard, and people were just like, oh, is that a flagrant? Whereas if somebody else fouled them hard, they're running up on them. You know what I mean? It's like, I love that about those guys, man. Deuce Staley and these coaches barking and such. I love that stuff, man. Like you can tell that they still care immensely about the game. They're not just trying to pick up a check. They care about this game. They care about protecting it. They care about the path they took, and I love that stuff. I'm hoping I'm about to King, Sean, bros. We got to start this campaign, bro. Bring Sean and Rasheed Wallace to Detroit.
Yes, sir. Yes,
do that.
sir. Listen, hey, we as far as the Pistons, the next step, man, I want to see as many ex-Pistons that we can get to come here. You know what I'm saying? Because if anybody is going to tell these young guys what it's like to be in Detroit and what we need to do to win here in Detroit, you need to have that around your young guys, man. Have it around your franchise, Yeah.
Now I will say, so first of all, I want to give a shout out real quick. My guy Naranjan, who's been doing social media stuff or from Half Court, snapped on this graphic.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But also made me realize, because I didn't even think about it, how much I would love an NBA Hard Knocks. And imagine if we could watch the Pistons throughout training camp. That would just be. That would be so sick, man.
Yeah.
Again, if you're not following FH Core Pod on Twitter, please do. But also, I just had to give a shout out. I saw this today, and when this came across my timeline, I was like,
listen,
we talked about that.
We definitely talked about that, man, and that would definitely change it, man. That would change the game. It's not like you got much to cover up in training camp. In basketball is literally, same basic plays. You know what I'm saying? And y'all see my tweet. Yeah, I see my tweet on Twitter. I'm dying here. Okay, I'm thirsty. I need some type of something to keep me afloat because I have nothing for Pistons basketball whatsoever. I have no highlights at no gyms, no nothing. I'm dying here. Someone help me right now. Only thing I can do is go back and watch games.
Today was Kevin Knox's birthday.
That's not enough, man. Not enough. I'm a junkie, man. I need something Pistons. I need to see somebody. I've been watching Bagley, though. I have been watching Bagley.
I feel you. And I know the Lindsey Hunter stuff, man. Hey, we've been talking about Lindsey Hunter a lot over the past week, and just the effect that we realize he's had on this team. I know we talk about his defense, but I don't even think we understand just how impactful his defense was to two different teams that made the playoffs. So I don't know why he's not an assistant coach. I don't know why he's not around and helping. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like Lindsey would be one of those guys when we talk about Rasheed and Ben working with the big guys. I really believe, Lindsey working with our guards, especially with perimeter defense, something we have struggled with, absolutely struggled with. Bro, bring him in here. I remember he used to work. He used to do runs all the time at Basketball Planet in Canton, as well as the what's the gym off Michigan Avenue? I forget the name of it. Further up Michigan Avenue back. But he used to always run in those gyms. Still had game. Didn't matter. Still had range. Still was playing defense. Still was dunking. Seen him at a couple different little training events and things of that nature. It's just like, goodness gracious. I was just about to say that's the guy that I want to see Killian Hayes actually kind of working out with. I don't know if Lindsey Hunter can still go as well as he did defensively, but in terms of pushing somebody, I know Lindsey Hunter still got.
I tell you what, most important, not even Killian. We seen a little bit of defense, but most important, I want Lindsey Hunter to work with someone like an Ivy, man, to bring that defensive edge. You know what I'm saying? And basically, what Dwayne Casey and Troy Weaver was talking about when they drafted him. We want to see you on the defensive side of the basketball. So bringing in a guy like Lindsey Hunter would benefit Ivy a lot, just to show him how to move those feet and how to be a dog on that defensive end, man, because proper feet movement on defense, it helps you out a lot. You know what I'm saying? You can't just out-athletic everything on defense. You got to be able to move your feet. You got to know where to be, the right spots to be. Like I said, man, Lindsey Hunter will be a great thing to have here in Detroit.
King, only people like you and myself can out-athlete a lot of people.
Yeah.
But but also in addition, another guy who's out hustling is Carl Collins, a guy who's out working, doing a lot of great things on the video editing side. Our guy Carl, what's going on, man? Good to have you here.
It's good to be here, guys. I figured I'd come on for a couple minutes. I'm on call in a little bit, but I figured I always love to talk hoops and stuff. So
yeah,
yes, sir.
And
yes,
he is not related to Carl Collins.
Oh no, I'm not.
He is good, but he is not related to Carl. I missed that commercial.
They still run sometimes.
Shoot. You know what, bro? You jumping in, I think, for a good topic right here, bro. I wanted to ask you guys, look, as we are getting really, really excited about the Troy Weaver era and everything that's happening, year 3? It's a lot of players here already, bro. But we got some soldiers, some fallen soldiers that we can't forget about, bro. Some guys who didn't get the benefit to have a GM as gifted as Troy Weaver. We have to recognize those guys from the buffoonery years, from the SBG years, everything in between, from going to work to Troy Weaver, that whatever's in between. I wanted to ask you guys, who would have forgotten players that actually need to be recognized?
All right, so I'll start because, in my opinion, if we're gonna look at where this list is, and we're talking about like who we're gonna recognize, in my opinion, this list, and Kool-Aid, if you share what's on the screen for me here real quick,
there you go.
It's gonna have to start and end with Boban Marjanovic.
Let's go, boy.
Because in his time in Detroit, not only was he able to captivate the
Let's
hearts
go. I like that one.
of a generation, the souls of a city, the hearts of an arena,
Toby
but-
and Bobby.
but
Let's get it.
was a bucket whenever he stood on the court. There were moments where Boban made like no-look passes or was like going around making highlights, and he was just a delight in his time in Detroit. My serious answer,
love that one.
Brandon Jennings or Tobias Harris, but
Yeah.
Boban absolutely steals my
Bro, we got
vote.
some good answers already, but it's gonna be tough to get one that's gonna be better than Boban. But hey, Jose Calderon, the Calderon year. Is that the era? The TCY?
God.
The
Jerome
Calder
Williams.
Wonder years.
Junkyard Dog, he was before the going to work era, but he's definitely somebody that I said before. Just as we put like people like Nate Burleson up on those pantheons, those players that just were like heart and soul guys.
Yeah.
Jerome Williams got to be up there, man. He has to. He needs to be talked about more. Do not forget him. If you don't know him, find any of the 2 clips they got on YouTube. I wish we existed back then because it would definitely be more. That dude was all hustle, man. He was all heart and soul, and he was not. It wasn't like he was built for it either. He was a little dude like Ben Wallace, but he was just going out there doing work, man.
Man.
I
But
saw
just played in the wrong era, man. Goodness gracious.
MK just listed my favorite backup Pistons point guard of all time. My guy, my boy, Carlos
Cal Seawood.
Arroyo, the lethal sniper, the man with the mask.
I remember that, dog. I remember
my
when he gave
God.
us that L. Sheesh.
Oh man.
was
Oh
running
my
around the
God.
floor
Do I
like
see Carlos Delfino? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Carlos
wow.
Delfino
You
is
know
the
what?
name. Yeah, Anthony Tolliver. When you talk about like the
Tolliver.
most
Yep.
likable Pistons of all time, that guy's on that list.
That man kept that court clean on the ground all the time. I don't know why he failed so much. But
some Jerome Williams though.
no, man. On the serious note, man, like I said, having a GM like Troy Weaver, I look back to, some of those guys that we brung with that semi-good era, with having Brandon Jennings and a KCP and oh my God, my guy Marcus Morris. Like I said, having guys like that and Tobias them around here. I just think they would have been put in a better position. But most of all, let's just keep it real. It's got to be Drummond, bro. Like I said, this team now would have been perfectly built for a Drummond to roam around. Like it's no way around it. Like I said, we talk about Calderon. We've had Steve Blake. We know all the terrible point guards we had here. We tried to make Reggie Jackson more than what he is. Like I said, it's the same nonsense over and over. So imagine having a backcourt of Cade-esque, Jaden Ivey-esque, era with Drummond here, where he doesn't have to be the number 1, the number 2, or the number 3, because that's where a lot of fans get it mixed up at. Drummond should never be an legit option on your team. He is a utility man. He should have been drafted as that.
Yeah.
So
the money really put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, which is understandable.
to me, I actually, when you brought up Reggie Jackson's name, it's interesting because there's that situation lately, that came out recently where Reggie Jackson made those comments at Paul George's camp talking about his time in Detroit and how he was almost going to retire, and how like he was having like where that like there were a lot of points in his career that were dark in his time in Detroit. But he's also spoken super highly of the city and how much he loved playing here. And so it's one of those things where I think Reggie got a lot of flack when I don't think it was ever a lack of trying with Reggie. I think he dealt with a lot of injury stuff. I don't think he was ever the player to put in that type of position or to be your franchise point guard. I think it's similar to Andre in that respect, where they were just put in positions that they shouldn't have been put in. Yeah. But I think with Reggie, especially, it's like he was fighting every day he could to be on the court. Whenever the Pistons did make the playoffs, he always played really hard and put up good performances. So like in Reggie's time in Detroit, man, like, I think that's a guy that gets more flack, and I think fans were really harsh to him at the end. And I think that's like one of those things where we look back and it's like, man.
Yeah, I was definitely a Reggie Jackson fan. I just didn't want him to be thrusted into that position because I knew it just wasn't him. Success in OKC and his rightful position. You see him now over in LA in his rightful position. You know what I'm saying? So here you bring him here to try to be the man of the franchise. You should have never did that. You should be. It's too much. It's not Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson is successful at the position he's in right now. You know what I'm saying? So making him your franchise point guard was a big mistake.
You know who Reggie Jackson reminds me of? Who? Killian Hayes with the situation.
Mm-hmm. I said that, Carl. I said, imagine if guys like Drummond and some of these earlier guys were drafted into situations like today, because this GM, this coach, they're not afraid to tell the players what they have to work on. They're not afraid to put the players in their best possible position to not just succeed, but to develop. Some people think, oh, sweet, I put him in the starting lineup and he got 10 points and 5 assists. That 10 points and 5 assists from Killian in the starting lineup over 30 minutes a game is going to be a bear. Mm-hmm. We're going to like be gouging our eyes out. You know what I'm saying? But to say, you know what, let's take a step back. Let's reassess. I think you can have success here and still find a way to get maybe those 25 to 30 off the bench, but in a much more manageable, situation that works for you. I love that because Drummond came into a situation, we talked about it before, where coach like go to the bench. Brandon Knight was put in some crazy situations. Yeah. They didn't use players the right way. I don't know what they were doing with Dinwiddie. Even Chris Middleton. You look at what they were actually using how they were actually using these other players. Chris Middleton would go bananas sometimes in games where it was like just throw the bench in. But then it's like in regular games, they're using him in other. I'm just like, I don't know, dog.
I can literally go down the list.
For years, bro. It's like
I can go down a list with so many players just being put in the wrong positions, man.
Bro, how many players have they like careers like those years took? Because I still feel like Stanley Johnson was mismanaged.
You mismanaged.
Well, absolutely, he was. Imagine if he had Dwayne Casey from day one, like giving him wisdom. Like imagine he had that type of development and someone that come in right away when he was like, "Hey, I want to focus more on offense," so that someone could go, "Shut up, get back to defending," because that was what it was. That's when it went wrong. Is when he was like, "I want to kind of like focus on my no, you stop it."
Yes. Fat.
You think it's coming, Sean?
Y'all remember when Avery Bradley said he was going to dude, I remember first of all, it was such like a small like trade even at the time, like in relativity to like the rest of the league, but like the Pistons treated it like it was such a franchise altering move. Yeah. And like they were treating it like they went and got like one of the best veterans on like a championship team. We got like a third option on a playoff team that like shouldn't have gotten as far as they did. And like Avery Bradley was ultimately just a trade piece for Blake Griffin. So
it's funny how much we almost cherish SPG way too much now that we have Troy Weaver. It's like I remember back then we were praising all the trades, like he was fleecing teams like for Marcus Morris and You remember that? Like we were giving him too much.
Listen, here's the thing. You got a point, Carl. Now, I was one of those people. I didn't have a problem with some of the guys that Stan Van Gundy was bringing. It's just when he brought Blake Griffin. I knew what was coming.
Yep.
I knew what was happening. So I was ranting all over YouTube, bro. Like, what the hell is happening here? Because I know this man is not gonna hold up. You don't get better with those type of injuries as you age. Like what are we doing here? We're the only dumb team in this league that took that contract.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's just like, man, the other moves. Yeah, Marcus Morris was a beautiful move. I was pissed what we gave.
In hindsight,
right? Yeah, right.
In hindsight, it's like, wait, we should have just paid Tobias.
Yeah.
Well, even a lot of even the Clippers team right now, like that's currently constructed, a lot of their like solid contributors are role players from the Pistons regime that we had in the first place. But the difference is they're actually being put in proper places to succeed because you know who they have on their team? Kawhi mother Leonard and Paul mother George, which is the exact type of guy that the Pistons haven't been able to get in Detroit this entire time. Also, could I just point out how I love that I'm watching Deuce periodically, like throwing his jabs and his points and his analysis. I can tell he's like just burning to be here, but also he's in the hospital room.
Bro, we don't care. You can run the format tonight.
Enjoy that rollout couch bed. That's the worst. Enjoy that.
Yeah, but it's like, I remember someone was like, wow, like it's almost like these guys could actually win basketball games. And it's like, yeah, we had guys that could win. Like we had guys that were good, but they were just put in a spot that they never should have been. Like when we saw that Luke Kennard was being positioned to be like one of our franchise scorers from like day one, it's like, that's a problem. It's like, I could tell, man, this guy's typing like freaking no tomorrow.
Stan. You had an opportunity to give Drummond fucking Donovan Mitchell. You had an opportunity to give him Donovan Mitchell. Like, come on, bro.
Dude, here's the thing. Honestly, though, because again, it's like now that we know like where we're at, imagine if we did draft Donovan Mitchell. What if Donovan Mitchell plays well? They have a good rookie year. What if they extend Stan Van Gundy? Imagine that.
See,
I'm not saying that happens. I'm not saying that happens, but like you go down those rabbit holes, and it's like obviously in hindsight we're glad to be where we're at now. But like still,
Stan Van Gundy is the Brady Hope of Pistons basketball. He's the guy that they're just like, you know what? He's like
the Rich Rodriguez of Pistons basketball. They freaking he tanked the program and just
no. Listen, the program was tanked, bro. When he got here, he flipped that roster into whatever. It was better. I'm trying. Brady Hoke tried too, and that's all I'm saying. The way that they still said, you know what, Brady, you're still in Michigan, man, but you got to get to the side. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how they did SVG. He did some good things as a coach. He should just not have been anywhere near the front office. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. It's like I give him a little bit of credit for the playoffs. You know, I give him a little bit of credit for trying some things. The Blake Griffin trade kind of absolutely just ended things for him at the end.
You got How much of that do you think was Tom Gores, though?
What'd you say?
How much of it do you think was Tom Gores? Because there's always
the Blake thing. Debate. I think was I think that I feel like that has Tom Gores written all over it.
Well, okay, but also Stan Van Gundy was trying to save his job.
I think that's people got to remember,
like it was literally like Stan Van Gundy needed to get to the playoffs, or he was fired. Mm-hmm. And so he literally went and at his final trade deadline before his contract was up, was like, I'm gonna throw the Hail Mary, and it flopped, and that's why he got fired. Like, so it was. To me, that like obviously like it has Tom Gores in the sense that I think he wanted a big name, and I think that's like the type of move that like I'm sure he was super excited about at the time because he was.
Stan picked Blake.
Yeah, but it was
long big name,
right? But the problem is the move wasn't made with long term with the longevity of the Pistons in mind. It was made for we got to make the playoffs now, or I might not be here next year. And when your decision's made in that light, that's the problem. Yeah. And again, that's kind of what I feel like the Kings are doing. But that's a whole other conversation. But guys, there's been some other other stuff going on in the NBA. There's been some so not only is the teal back, but did you see that some other teams announced some throwbacks
Yeah,
that are coming back?
There's
There's
Washington. It's still ugly. Like what? Ugh.
well, so there's the there's also there's the Lakers ones too. That's the only one that I saw other than the Wizards one that I was like, okay, this is actually like this is the only one other than the Pistons one that I'm like, all right, this is kind of fire. Like these Lakers.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, these Lakers throwbacks I think are actually pretty sick. The Warriors brought back their throwbacks as well. So they're going to be rocking the old style blue this year. So that's going to be really cool. The Bucks revealed the purple jerseys. Those are going to be cool. And then the Wizards brought back their old look too. The 25th anniversary, 1997, Michael Jordan, back when he was on the team, like that original look. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Everything that's being announced, none of them are going to sell like the teal.
No.
None of them are going to sell like the teal. The teal are going to sell like freaking hotcakes.
Yeah. As soon as they launch those, it's over. It is over.
Yeah.
Lakers going to be probably the only one that's going to rival.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Those teal ones, Grant Hill, Cade Cunningham, Ivy, Duran, Bay, them things going to be selling like hotcakes, man. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like that teal jersey is going to be probably the first Pistons jersey, like the first Pistons team where you're actually trying to get multiple current Pistons jerseys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want Cade, Ivy, Bay, Duran, and Bagley.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to get Corey Joseph.
Yeah. Here's these just for reference, though. They're bringing back the old classics, the OGs. By the way, find someone who's as pumped about being a sub 500 player every single year. Good job, Bradley Beal. Yeah. But hey, he got the bag.
Yeah. Gonna be like Carmelo.
Dude.
Well, we all know who we don't want on our team, I guess.
Well, speaking of that, actually, it's a good point and a good way to transition. Draymond Green. Did you guys see that news?
So I don't know how much I rely on anytime I see something that's reported outside of Woj or Shams, I have a level of skepticism. You know, to me, the way it goes is as far as NBA reporting goes, is Woj, Shams, and Chris Hayes, if they say something, it's borderline Bible. You can pretty much count on it. Like it's going to be pretty accurate. Then there's like Jake Fisher and like some Bleacher Report guys where it's like they can generally get some pretty good finds here and there. Everywhere else, it's a complete Wild West. You don't know what to count on. You have no clue. However, the Draymond ties to the Pistons, like if you're looking at the type of veteran the Pistons would want to add, to me, he fits the bill. But that's just me. But King, you're
there first.
King, you're shaking your head. You're leaning, going, no. I want to hear your thoughts.
We gonna get there. We gonna get there. Does anybody have that tweet from that account, that NBA Central?
Hold on, I can pull it up.
This stuff is crazy. King, what's the deal, bro? Why he's finding this tweet?
Let me get a little closer for y'all. If it's true, Draymond Green, stay the fuck away from my team. Okay?
Bars.
I'm tired of getting players when they're old and want to be overpaid. I don't care if you just won a championship. So fucking what? Stay away from here. You out there giving donut games, bro. No. Stay away from this roster. We young. Let these dudes play. You're not about to come here and get some type of fucking payday. You can fucking forget it. Stay away from Detroit.
Now I'm not saying we give them the max. I'm not. That's not where I'm going. And
better clarify.
Yeah. No. It's one of those things where I'm just talking about the idea of having Draymond Green on the basketball team, like solely on paper. Before we get into numbers,
who goes?
Who goes? Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think as of right now, I mean, like I don't know if anyone would have to go, but like Isaiah Stewart could come off the bench. Like in theory, like if you have a lineup of Cade, Ivy, Bay, Green,
You're
and
still not
Duran.
winning the championship. You're still not winning the Eastern Conference right now with Draymond.
I'm not
Right.
saying that's a win. That's one in the Eastern Conference. But are you
That's
telling
a
me that
piece-
doesn't make us more competitive?
Yeah, but
He's-
I'm saying
he's a-
I don't want to just be more competitive and slow down the development of Isaiah Stewart for Draymond to come here
Right.
and just be a face.
He's
Right.
more of a piece that we add when we're a year away from
Right.
like championship contention.
I have to stay away from fan favorites like Corey Joseph. I'm being really careful to not to say that because I want to make sure King is intact by the end of the show. But
It's like,
but-
you know, I remember a few years back when he was trying to get that contract from Golden State, and Lexi talked about it too, where he effectively just, you know, floated and used that whole Detroit love to get that other contract. And ever since then, I've just been like, you know what, man, skip him, bro. But more or less to like what like King is stating, and even just from a talent standpoint, I feel like with the Warriors, he can contribute to their system. They know who he is. There's a chemistry there. You know what you're going to get. With the Pistons, though, with this young team, with how they already play, I just don't know if the timing is right necessarily. You know what I'm saying? If this was this same team 2-3 years ago, maybe. But right now, it's just like where he's headed, where he's going, that ego, that mouth, that chirping. I think that there's some habits on there that if they're on a much more mature team, it's fine. But when you're on a younger team, there's some habits I don't want some players picking up, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't. So I don't know, man. Draymond,
he's at a point now where he needs to just play for teams that's contending. That's it. He needs to stay away from young teams, period. Play for teams that's contending where you don't have to you know do as much. I'll say that. For what it's worth, what he does right now, it contributes to Golden State system. Fine.
yeah.
But Draymond's not at the point of his career where he's going to impact somebody like that no more. It's just not going to happen that way, man.
And for what it's worth, the person that did the reporting, and again, this is why you have to read into these things and dig a little bit deeper. He is currently a writer for Heavy Sports, which is like a relatively prominent sports blog. But his
I'm just
background,
hypothetically tossing around. I don't think anybody thought it was like
serious.
serious.
It's like his
Oh,
background is in he definitely has like a prominent back. Like he does stuff for Enjoy Basketball. Like he's done stuff in like Celtics blogs, but I would say overall, like I'm not sure. Like there might be some smoke in the fact that like it talks about in the article, like some of the things he cites are like like Ben Wallace was his idol as a kid, and like apparently like he's always reportedly wanted to come back and play there at some point. But again, like that can also just speak to that could be very much the type of language that could be spoken into a leverage type of deal, because that's the easiest one to always go to is the hometown team, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
hypothetically speaking, is there a player that you think, like a veteran player in this league, that you think, when it's time to go, who is that player to bring in? So if it's not like a Draymond Green, which we just wanted to talk to Fit just to get the feel. But if there is a player out there, man, who is it?
Jalen Brunson. No, I'm kidding.
Because this will be what, like in a couple years when this team is ready to win. I don't even know who the free agents are, but just irregardless of who's a free agent, who's a player that you think can contribute?
I would say it depends on what Troy Weaver's trying to do. I would say that because and just to make a side note real quick, Brunson and his teammates from New York got embarrassed in the freaking summer gym somewhere by like 18 points. That's embarrassing. But with no other NBA talent there either. But at this point, like I said, where we are right now, it depends on what Troy Weaver's trying to do. If he's trying to push fast forward and bring some guys in here, then fine. But right now, I just don't know that you bring somebody in. I would say if you bring somebody in on a cheap contract, sure. You know what I'm saying? Just to be a veteran presence, fine. Switch them out with Corey Joseph or Magruder or whatever it is. But
It's like they already got them players.
Yeah, right. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So at this point, it's just like if you're not pushing fast forward, it's just not. Let's just let these young guys go.
I think you look at what a lot of these teams that like when they do take the next step, what's the type of trade that they make? Like I know the Heat saw that they had a window. They brought in a guy like a Kyle Lowry. I know the Suns, they brought in a guy like a Chris Paul. I'm not saying it has like I'm not alluding to it being like a point guard, but like what it is like it's got to be like that type of veteran presence, someone who has that background in the game, that's been there, that has experience playing basketball in meaningful situations. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's like won a title before, and like I don't even know if I have like specific names, but like it doesn't even have to be
the
like
role it should be the type of player, and I agree with where you're going with that.
Yeah, but like I would even say like if we are talking like even if we're talking like stylistically, like even guys like guys like Jay Crowder and PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker, man, bro, I was just about to say PJ.
Yeah,
Tucker.
like guys like PJ Tucker and Jay Crowder have both been heavily sought after the last couple of years, and the reason why is because they're guys that just come in, they know their role, they play really hard basketball, and they make threes. And that's exactly what you need. And the beauty of it for Detroit is you kind of already have a couple guys who play basketball like that on your roster, and Sadiq and Isaiah Livers. But imagine being able to pair those guys and add another like a PJ Tucker. So like let's say like Grant Williams becomes available from Boston over the next couple of years. Like guys like that could become available. So it's like let's say the Suns have a fire sale. Well, who's to say the Pistons could go get a Mikal Bridges over the next couple of years? So to me, it's those types of guys that can come in, play the role, be solid around Cade, and like add that defensive presence as well. But also kind of like a veteran presence too.
Yeah, I've wanted JaVale McGee here before in the past. I've always liked what he's brought. Honestly, to both ends of the court. I know he got some spaced out plays out there, but overall, I've always thought, he's one of those. Shout out to Lazarus, but he's one of those team jumpy jump guys. Definitely, just springs for days, catches lobs all over the place, putbacks, rebounds, hustles, blocks. That's definitely somebody who I know that he flirted with coming home, but that's probably somebody I would definitely look at if we were looking at centers. But I'm hoping that this team, honestly, like what King said, we're going to get into it, like some of our favorite lineups. I'm hoping that this team just runs with what they have, because I believe we got a little bit more on this roster, a little bit more of these young guys than we even knew coming in, bro. Seriously. So, like I know that it's just video clips, but what Jalen Duren is but what Jalen Duren is putting on tape, the things that he's practicing on, it's the stuff that we could tell he's going to be good at, the stuff that he does. And clearly, Memphis was asking him to do too little. I'm starting to feel that, especially with how confident Troy and Casey are. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to believe in those guys and they're stating this, we have to believe this. And so I believe, like, if a Draymond or anybody like that was to come here, it would just take from those guys. I don't want to see that happen at all. I want to see these guys come in this year and really, really get to going. If Jalen Duren is not going to start, I'm hoping that they find an opportunity to put him in a rotation early. I don't want to see him be one of those rookies that they say, well, he got to work his way in, this and the other. I kind of want to see him go out there and be able to get 18, 20, 22 minutes a game. And that's coming from a standpoint of when he was first drafted, there were like weird comments and commentary, and we didn't really know if he was going to be NBA ready or G League first or time down there. I want to see these guys going. And on the Woodard Pistons podcast, we talked about our favorite lineups that we wanted to see. I know King participated in that. Sean, bro, I wanted to get yours. It don't got to be the starters, but what five do you just want to see? That's the lineup, bro, that's going to excite you.
Well, I mean, when you throw that out there, you definitely got to start with Corey. I mean, you gotta go. I mean, when you're throwing with what's going to get my mojo, how you not including Kojo? You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, no. I mean, to me, it's it's those. To me, it's the flexibility that this team's going to have as far as like to me, what excites me the most is what it's going to look like when we see those 3 guard lineups with Cade, Sadiq, and Killian. I mean, with Cade, Killian, and Ivy out in the court, and you can also have Sadiq, and then you could throw in Isaiah Stewart as kind of like that smaller 5 I'm excited to see like what the Pistons do, like when they can kind of go small and use that versatility and that positionless and that length, because even though like we're gonna have like a 3-guard lineup, it's 3 guards who are all really long and are all like relatively big for their position. So like I feel like we could actually have some really good 3-guard lineups, and I know Dwayne Casey's freaking licking his lips at that. So yeah, man, I'm pumped for that.
I mean, we know that Casey, that's just a staple of what he does, as well as a little bit of what is in Troy Weaver's nature in terms of how he's drafted or been a part of teams that's drafted in the past. And with that, yeah, the 3-guard rotation is something that just continued to pique our interest when we talked about it. The player of interest for me, though, was what? Duran, and I believe we bantered between Isaiah Livers and Stewart. I think ultimately I went with Isaiah Livers. So we can get the shooting, a little bit of athleticism. And the thing that I love the best is I can't wait to see what it's going to look like to have Cade and Ivy on the wings. With Killian, just operate, bro. Right. You got tools now. There's nobody that can sit here and say you don't have talent around you. They may be inexperienced, but we're talking about high-level talent with Cade, Ivy, potentially Livers, who's also another high IQ player out there with him, and Duran, who's his pick and roll, lob, catch everything type of player. But King, was that the same 5 you had? I don't remember if it was the same, if you had a different 5.
No, yeah, that was the 5 that I was most interested to see out there. Because Dwayne Casey and had mentioned it, that we may see that 3-guard rotation at times, because like I said, they're all big. You know what I'm saying? They're very interchangeable. So on the defensive end, it's going to be tough for some teams, man, especially those guard-heavy teams. It's going to be tough against the Pistons, man, because literally anybody can defend you. And it's not just with our guards, man. We've seen guys like Isaiah Stewart get out on the perimeter and guard guards. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I love about this team, the versatility, where you can just interchange guys on the defensive end because of our length and our youth and the defensive prowess that some of these guys got.
And you talk about the problems we're going to give the guard-heavy teams, but King, I'm excited to see how we match up against some of these big intensive teams as well. I think the speed of the Pistons could give those teams a lot of problems. I also I think specifically to the Cleveland matchup, and I think the intensity of Duran and Stewart could give Mobley and Jared Allen both some issues. So I think that's the thing, is this is the type of lineup where I think if you build it right, could give any type of lineup issues. So I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Boy, it's gonna be one everywhere.
What does that sound like? That sounds like a Pistons roster. That's what it sounds like. That's what our teams have always been when we're successful. We're able to go out and defend multiple teams and switch things up. And shout out to Jeff, man. Jeff had mentioned in a previous show about, us going small ball at times. You know what I'm saying? We can do that as well. So like I said, it's definitely going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to preseason, you know what I'm saying? Just to get some type of dose of some of these lineups that you may see out there, because I know that's where Dwayne Casey's going to do it the most, and play around with the lineups just to see what we can get with certain guys out there.
Who's this Jeff guy you speak of?
It's Jeff.
Hey, Mr. Everything. AKA. I call him AKA. He's also known as Jeff Freddy.
Yeah, Mr.
But Carl,
the
man.
Wonderkin.
Carl, what's your 5, man, that you want to see?
So I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. It's the same thing. I just can't wait to see what we can do with all the athleticism, the speed. I mean, we can just all 3 of them. Cade, Ivy, and Killian can run the floor and command the floor. And I can't think of the last time that we had a dynamic, that many dynamic players on the same court at the same time.
Yeah.
But like King said, that's how the Pistons are successful. We have those kind of players. So I can't wait to see that. I'm excited.
The next step,
and offensively, man.
The next step is to bring back Thon Maker, bring back Boban, and also bring back Bull, and throw up a lineup of Marvin Bagley, Thon Maker, Bull. Jalen Duren.
You may as well bring back
Boban
Darko too. Then
Marjanovic. I want all freakishly athletic and large.
Bro, that was my
men.
next question. What's your all interesting lineup?
That's like the ultimate 2K lineup.
Oh,
Bunch of creative
100%.
players.
No, my
All
all interesting lineup. Jeff, I a freak. Hey, oh, I like that. I like that.
You gonna announce him like that on the
good.
next? Like, you gonna introduce him like that on the next From Half Court?
You might know him as Jeff I a freaky, but today this boy is Jeff I a Frady, boy. Look at that, man.
On today's episode,
Boy.
Jeff Iafriki talks about Juicy Booty Isaiah Thomas.
Oh,
Oh
but
man,
dude,
when Terry said that, I died, man.
dude, hey, dude, Terry was on From Half Court this week too, which by the way, you should go check out if you haven't. He told a story about Allen Iverson that was, God, that had me rolling. It was such a good pod, but it's specifically Allen Iverson apparently at one point accused Terry of looking at his package. So
hey, that's the Richard Jefferson story. I don't know if you remember that.
oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So anyway, for me, when I think of like the all interesting lineup, I think, you know, I would say Ivy's definitely in there. I'm interested to see what he does. I think Diallo's definitely someone. I know I would put Killian, and then I go Diallo. I think Diallo's like he's someone that can make, you know, either like make or break his future with this team this year. I think he is in a position where he's got to show up and keep, you know, developing on what he did last year. I think Marvin Bagley, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with him. And then, I mean, of course, Jalen Duren's the biggest question mark of this team. You know, like he comes in, and I don't think he's a question mark in the fact that he's a dog. I just mean like, how good can he be? How quickly? Because if he can be awesome right away, man.
Yeah.
Man. But that for me, like, I know like Cade's like a known commodity. Like if you're talking like the interesting, like the guys that I'm going to be looking at, to me, that's not even like the lineup that's the most interesting. It's like if you're saying to me like, what's the 5 most interesting players on this team of I don't know what to expect and I want to see the outcome of, I would say like those 5 right there for me personally.
Yeah.
Marvin Tolbert brought up a good point, and Kevin Knox. It's going to be interesting to see what a change of scenery does for him. If he gets the opportunity, though, that's the thing: is he going to get the opportunity to show that?
I'm guilty, Carl. I don't know if I'm the only one that's guilty, but am I the only one that forget that Kevin Knox is on this team sometimes?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Pistons didn't make the deal official for like quite a while. I mean, it's so that's the thing with like all these different guys, like with Kevin Knox, like you could see him getting 20 minutes a night. You could see him not being on here not being on the roster by opening night. Like that's honestly the thing with Kevin Knox. Like he is the question mark in that sense. Also, like I think some of it's been health with him, but like, you know, he's at the point where like he doesn't really have the luxury of, you know, oh darn, like if only, like he's got to, like if he wants a spot, he's gonna have to come in and show something right away. So he's definitely the biggest preseason storyline for
Bro,
sure.
I'll be forgetting that Kelly Olynyk is still a Piston. So we be talking lineups. But what's the top?
That's a good point, man.
Then I go back and I'm like, oh snap, Kelly O. And he can shoot, he can play, he can get out and transition.
He can play in that lineup that Sean brought up with Bobo. He can run point guard.
Yes.
Curry step back threes, like you know.
Pistol Pete Olynyk out there with listen, you mean that
What's
God
lineup,
squad?
bro?
That God squad of Marvin Bagley,
Bro, no, man, with the sound effects. Come on,
and
bro.
now, standing at a combined 38 feet tall, the Detroit Monsters with Marvin Bagley, Bobo, Thon Maker, Boban Marjanovic. And I forgot the fifth.
Sean, bro, look, before we wrap, you got the picture that I sent you earlier?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Hold on. Let me get that. Let me get that to my. Were we revealing that to the people? I thought we were keeping that a surprise.
You want to?
We got to.
It's your okay. Okay.
We got to.
Okay.
But all I'm gonna say, we got some stuff cooking.
It's awesome. It's awesome,
We got
man.
some stuff
It's
cooking.
awesome. We got some good stuff on.
We got some stuff cooking.
But man,
Man.
I think that's a show, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Think
think
it
that's
is.
a good one. It's like it's that this was a perfect middle of August episode. You know?
It
Like
really
this
was.
was like a perfect, hey, we got no updates, but listen, man, it's that time of the year, but training camp is about a month away. So, you know, the NFL world is in training camp. The NBA is pretty quick in following that up. So pretty soon we will have some Pistons basketball to talk about. And when that day comes, this is going to be the place that you want to be. These are the creators you're going to want to be listening to. These are the voices that you're going to want to be hearing from. So with that, be sure that you're subscribing to Woodward Pistons and keeping up on all of the latest coverage. Also, be sure to be on the lookout for the Woodward Pistons show. It is coming back, baby. Mark our words. Episode 2 coming soon. Just had to get through some stuff in the month of August, but the Woodward Pistons show is coming. But be sure you're following Everything King and keeping up on his reporting because he'll be at Allen Park each and every day he can, following the
Putting in that
Detroit
work.
Lions. He'll be at that game tomorrow night. I know I'll be hearing him scream on the television. I'm excited about that.
I just said.
Yeah, I just
No.
your Stan Van Gundy gets me every time.
Andre!
Andre! But
Nobody
also-
else on the team, just Andre.
everyone else. Hey, Blake or Reggie. Go. Andre! Oh my gosh. But also be sure that you're following Carl Collins and all the videos that he's working on and doing for Woodward Pistons. By the way, he's got some straight heat in the oven, man. So we are excited for everything coming down that lane. Be sure you're following Downtown Deuce as well, even though he's not with us tonight. He was with us in the comments. So again, congratulations to him. And also be sure that you're following my guy, Detroit Kool-Aid, the godfather of Woodward Pistons.
Hey, appreciate that. Hey, man, you guys have a fantabulous night, man. I'm gonna be feeling better up to myself next week. And Sean, bro, we have to debut this stuff soon.
Yeah.
We gotta show the people what we talking about soon.
Oh yeah. Hey, just know we got some stuff cooking.
Hey King, I think I'm about ready, man. We're gonna have this conversation. We're gonna try and get some stuff going. It's gonna be dope, brother. It is. But hey, again, thank you to all the contributors. You know, King, Carl, Lexi, and there's more. There's so many more, man. Just for me personally, it means a lot to have these people coming on every week. And not just jumping on because they feel like they have to, but jumping on because realistically, man, we've been building for a minute. You know, King and I, thanks and shout out to Easy, man, for letting us get on the Speakeasy just a couple times, bro. It just sparked something, and we started just brainstorming. And when Sean got injected, 6 years ago into this, or 6 months ago, into this. Was it 6 months ago now?
Yeah, man. I started
7 months ago.
Dude, I started January. Dude, I started January 10th, so it's been like 7 months now.
Man, that's quick.
Bro,
I just got another gray hair.
By the way, another crazy thing, from Half Court in 3 days, the YouTube channel will be 1 year old, and we already reached 2,000 subscribers. So yeah, man. Thank you to everyone that's supporting and appreciate the love, man. It's been awesome.
Congrats, man.
Man, shout out Flagrant.
Man, Flagrant with the 5 bomb. My gosh. But man, hey, we love y'all, man. We know this was the energy will be back next week. Always glad to be. Hey, Deuce, I love you, brother.
Hey, let's get that Shania West going.
So,
hey, baby. Oh my gosh. But hey, man, we want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. we'll have much more content with you guys coming soon. And we'll catch you guys next week on Woodward Pistons Table Talk. And we'll do it on time this time. Andre!